thank you, everyone. Thank you. Welcome to the show. And wait, it'd be happy. It'd be work better if I got the picture round to me. Sorry about that. Sorry about that.
No, we're all right, John.
Sorry about that.
Camp looks good, John.
Yeah,
Oh,
Cam,
it's lovely,
Cam
honestly.
looks better than you do.
It's lovely, but we're doing a bit of work at the moment, cleaning out part of the kitchen. So, but we've had the conference, and as I said, headliners bigger than Glastonbury headlines. We had Godfrey Bloom and Jada Franson, and he even had a guy saying that he thought I was just clickbaiting when I said I've got a special guest on. But if you know me and you know me past and stuff like that, I do get these guests on, and I consider Jada Franson a good mate of mine. She was somebody I looked at for getting into politics in the first place. Paul, I'm sure Paul will say how steadfast she is and in her beliefs and that, and how knowledgeable she is with stuff. And now I've known Jada 10 years now, so I consider her a friend. But yeah, so a fantastic meeting. Lovely to meet up with a lot of people. We had a mate of ours, Will Davis from Merseyside. Introduced him to the camp. He knew somebody, a veteran down here. I mean, at the camp at the moment, I mean, God rest his soul, but there's a veteran here who's on a time limit, guys, at the moment. And I spent a bit of the day with him today. We went out driving and I listened to the stuff he said. He's got some really good stories as well, but we'll get round to them another time. But yeah, a fantastic thing. Joe did a massive beef stew for us all, and I can't say anything. I've had a lot of Joe's beef stews and portions and that, and they are really good. You know what I mean? Especially when you need them in winter and a halfy winter and stuff like that. But yeah, a fantastic conference. Thank you, Stephen. Jane, Paul, we're going to be doing it next year, and Mr. Rimmer is going to be like the number one speaker, I think, next year. Certainly will be, definitely in my eyes. We missed Paul's speech this year, and I know it would have been fantastic. And I even said, I can't compare to Godfrey and Jada, but I did my little bit. But we'll look forward to that next year. I'm at the camp a couple of days now. I don't have to be home yet, so I'm helping out where I can. It's ticking over nicely. There's 3 veterans here right now who've been here for quite some time. But yeah, so we're having a good one. We're having a good one. Anyway, over to you, Pat. What did you think of the conference?
Yeah, I mean, I've got to be honest. It was a bit of a edgy sort of time for me because I've done my hand in. For people who don't know, I had a bad accident with my hand, so I can't use my hand. And you can see the full details of what happened in my speech if you go to my channel, NHP UK Press Office on YouTube, or you can see that on Twitter as well. So I'll be honest with you, I didn't really want to go ahead with it. And another thing about organising these things, it's really difficult to get people to go. And because all sorts of things can happen. I had one friend who had to pull out because something terrible happened to one of his ex-girlfriends, and I completely understood why he couldn't make it. Another one said she wasn't feeling well, and some people need to work and stuff, and it's a long way to go down to where we went down in Bath, and it's like it's like an hour and a half drive from the motorway. So yeah, I did contemplate on not going. But I just had to pray to Jesus to give me the strength to go through with it. And we went through with it, got some disappointments on the morning, got to the camp, and we had to set it up and everything, and people was arriving at the train station. Some people were late, trains were late. And I was just thinking, this is just a blinking nightmare, to be honest. That's what I was thinking at the time.
Can I just butt in? I mean, everyone threw in. A mate of ours, Mark, friend who lives local, he ended up taking Jada back to the station. I think Dion took Godfrey back, and I picked them 2 up as well. So, we sorted things out. and there were plenty of vehicles available as well, and plenty of offers of lifts and that. I just want to give a big shout out to Anthony Clayton, veteran. He actually won the Bigger Brother 2 years ago, and he's come the day after. And then he was telling me that he signed up for reform. He'd not heard nothing. Got in contact with them. They've only put a young lad in who's related to a rich donor, and sort of like left Ant on the side. And then that lad's gone and messed up the council. You know, and Ant's an adult veteran. He's very wise, and he's a very capable person. So he signed up to us. He's paid his 11 quid veteran fee, signed up, and he's eager to roll. I've showed him a couple of the leaflets he was looking through. Pat's Camden leaflet, very impressed and all that lot, and he can't wait to get on. So that's a big up to Ant Clayton, legend, if you ask. Well, he's a hero. We said it's about anyone who stands up, they're heroes.
Yeah. So let me finish off with what I was saying. So, so it was a bit chaotic at the beginning, I'm not going to lie, and I was struggling, and my faith in Jesus just came through at the end because it just all came together. Everyone like chucked in, like John said, and we got all the banners up. You know, they weren't perfect, but they done the job. And you know, I had to bring a lot of stuff from London. All the banners, I had to bring leaflets for one of our candidates in Somerset. You know, I had to give some people some rosettes, some of our candidates and stuff. And Jada came, Godfrey Bloom made it, you know, 9-hour round trip, 75-year-old man, army veteran, absolute legend. You know, and it was just a spectacular event, and we had food, you know, there was other people around the camp, and that was excellent day. So glad I made the effort, because I was struggling because I only had one arm. And it was a really good day, and you know, great speeches by John, Jada, Godfrey. Young James was brave enough to speak. We haven't released his video yet. Dave Parker spoke. Few more videos come. Joe spoke, and excellent day. And I think we should do it next year and do a 2-dayer. So like maybe I would stay over for one night. So we do it on a Saturday and a Sunday, maybe. On
Yeah.
And like brilliant day, excellent day. And Jada's speech was very, very emotional. Brought tears to my eyes, and a few other people said that to me as well. So, you know, real big respect to Jada for coming from all the way from Northern Ireland to come and speak at our event. And she's the founder of the Christian Nationalist Party. And, you know, obviously that's in line with what we believe in. You know, we want Christian nationalism for our nation. And, so that's about it, really. Over to you, Paul.
Well, it's you've set the precedence now, haven't you? You've had a sort of annual event. You've had an annual conference. I mean, the tick list of being a real political party, you know, you have to have a structure, you have to have policies, you have to have candidates, you have to have some form of annual get-together, annual conference. I remember we had that meeting down in London, didn't we? One of the first public meetings we had. But it's a very fluent political situation at the moment. I mean, the nationalists, the patriots, are on the rise dramatically. We're not going to surrender to this terrorist regime, which is the Labour government. The Labour government are allowing the invasion of our country by an army, really, a hostile army. And by putting these people, they call them hotels, putting them effectively in barracks up and down the country. And they're intimidating people. They're going into neighbourhoods, and they're creating all sorts of tensions. Now, the big focus is on sexual harassment, because this is ongoing. When these undocumented young men come into areas, they leer at the girls. They make noises to the girls. They approach the girls. And I'm not talking now about mature women. I'm talking about kids. So obviously this scares everybody, because we just saw in Holland one of these illegal immigrants or asylum seekers or whatever you want to call them. One of them raped a girl in Holland. He was arrested and he was released. Released. 3 days later, he rapes another girl and murders her. And the Dutch are saying, this is going on. This has happened in Germany, it's happened in France, it's happened in Britain, it's happening all over Europe, and it's creating incredible tension. But that, with the background of a very weak and pathetic Labour leadership and Labour government, the economic chaos which is unravelling, high taxes, high prices. I mean, I was at a train station yesterday, and a group of foreigners came onto the platform from the third worlders. And I thought, everybody, the British people used to go quiet when they appear. But I could hear the conversation. People speaking out loud and saying, we're getting nothing and they're getting everything. And people are becoming really outspoken on these issues. And because Elon Musk has given us this freedom on X that we didn't have previously, people are voicing their concern, the reporting, the events that are taking place, and they're voicing their hostility to this Labour government. And of course, Reform are there as a party. They're making a huge impact, and they've just brought this deportation agenda out, which was a big step to the right for them in many ways. But I was really struck that they'd listened to Pat McGuinness, and he brought this 1951 UN Refugee Convention to the fore. We're going to have to either sidestep that or leave it, because they'll use that to block any attempt to stop the invasion of our country. But the patriotic forces are getting a lot of popularity now. And it's parties like the National Housing Party which are holding reform's feet to the fire. I mean, Pat frequently posts on Nigel Farage's page, and Farage is reading them because he's responding to what Pat is saying. I mean, Pat's been attacked regularly by reform members and candidates, but because his points are so solid, they have to listen to them and they have to respond. And, I was watching a video. Did you watch that video that I sent you about Farage talking about Enoch Powell, Pat?
Yeah.
Farage made the point that you can't get too far ahead of the British people or you simply alienate yourself. You've got to take the British people with you gradually, and they will respond to that. The question is, how far can the truth be told now? Because it's amazing the impact that Steve Laws is having. There's voices from across the right now. They're getting resonance on X and on social media platforms, and the mainstream media has to pick them up because they're getting the attention. Stuart, how do you see the future, and what is to be done to save this nation?
Well, do you want the black pill first or the white pill?
Give us any pill you've got, we'll take them all.
I'll give you the black pill first. It makes no difference whatsoever who we have in charge in our so-called government. None of them are there for us, the people. We need strong leadership that's strong enough to say, look, you can call me an Islamophobe, anti-Semite, racist, homophobe, whatever you like. British people come first. That's what I think we need to do, and that's for the white people we need to do, but we need to look at the foundations of what's being done to us and where it's been coming from. The UN replacement migration is real. There is a document that I have a link to. I've put it up on X several times. When I first put it up, it was about a year ago, and it was as policy. Then it disappeared. And I thought, oh, that's very strange. And then a little while ago, I was just on my phone. I tapped on the wrong app and it came up. And so I put it up on X again. It didn't say on that it was policy. And when I put it into a couple of different chat GPT and Grok, it said, oh no, this is just a modelling exercise. Well, the modelling exercise, which was policy, states that for every westernised country from America to Canada to Australia to New Zealand to us, has a quota that we must take. And they put modelling. So they give numbers for each country per head per million. We need to take so many thousand just to keep the level of population. Then it also gives figures to increase the population and why they would want to increase the population to increase GDP. That's what it's all about. Firstly is money. Secondly, we have things like the Coudenhove-Kalergi plan in place, the Houghton model. It's all to force everybody into westernised countries and to force a civil war. And as soon as we get violence on the streets, I believe that this government, if you want to call it, are going to clamp down. We've already got facial recognition in place everywhere, and there are court cases against that. So hopefully that will go against our British human rights, hopefully. With the white pill, I will say that you're very, very right. Both of you, all that I've heard from you two guys tonight talking is that patriots are on the rise. People are putting up flags everywhere. So we're starting to take a little bit of pride in our country, and we need to. There's no way we can take this country back without a groundswell movement. So, people listening, if you're out there, please take a look at our website, have a look at our common sense policies. Come and add to it if you wish. Come and join. Come and join a groundswell movement that's going to make changes from the bottom. And as Paul said, the Pat putting pressure on the government is getting answered by Farage and people like that. So yes, what we do does make a difference. I have to say I was never into politics at all. Not at all. Not interested. They don't do anything for me. But the last few years, I have cottoned on to the fact that possibly Enoch Powell in the 70s was right to say that our society would dissolve and denigrate. So people out there, please take a look at us, come join us. If you don't want to join us, but you think our policies are pretty good, we need leaflets. We need to let people know locally that we're here and we're here to make a change. So if you can make a small donation, we'd appreciate it. If not, get in touch. Let us know what you think of our policies. If you can add to them, all the better, because that's what we need. We need lots of people with lots of opinions to point us in the right direction. Thank you very much. I'll let somebody else have a chat now. Cheers.
I'll go on. I just want to talk about the 1951 Refugee Convention. So, I've been talking to Pat. It sent me links to it, and I did do a couple of days studying the convention, and then our next step was Pat got a banner. We went down to Dover and we did some stunts in Dover, and we did two lots of stunts. Yeah, we did 2 lots of stunts in Dover with the banner, and no party, no political.
It's actually 3.
3. No party, no political person, no media source was even talking about that refugee convention at the time. And then after we did the Blackwall Tunnel, they all started to talk about it because they seen that Pat was right. So, in the future, when I look back and I look at the changing, and I'm going to safely, confidently say that my mate, Pat McGinnis, was the one who got the 1951 Refugee Convention mentioned on mainstream media. And this is what we've got to do, guys. You might not go along with our policies at the beginning, but you can force other groups and parties to take on your policies. It's simple as. And by doing the activism we're doing and stuff like that is how we do it. But I just wanted to get that in about that 1951 Refugee Convention. And if you know me well enough, when I try to put down to something, I'll do it. And if you knew me 10 years ago, you would have definitely said that I was going to get into local politics. It was on the cards. And I mean, Pat, I think it was on the cards for Pat as well. He was definitely going that way to get involved in local politics and to run in elections. And we're doing it. People are jealous. People have poached people on us. They call us and all that. But you know what? We're doing it, guys. We're actually putting our faces out and running in the elections, which is a lot more than what the patriot community is doing. So a lot of you need to wake up. You know, it's not going to be the only way we're going to change things, but we've got to get involved in all avenues. And I want to get involved in local politics. I believe that that's my niche in the whole system, and that is to get involved in community and local politics. And I just want to go on about something Jada said. She talked about community building and community, and that's what we're doing. Pat's actively working with his community, with his yeah. What that thing you're doing is his signature thing for the drug use and stuff
Petition.
like that. Petition, and I'm actively involved in my community with the councillors, the housing, and stuff like that, and getting into it. And this is what we need to do to strengthen our position, strengthen our communities. But it's just something Jada said about it and all that lot. I just want to big shout out to Godfrey Bloom, Tank Regiment. I didn't notice the tie, but we've got our Royal Navy veteran Steve, who's permanent at the camp. His eagle eyes did pick up that tie, and it was a Tank Regiment tie. So thank you very much, Godfrey. That was it were awesome. I didn't even know he was a veteran, so it really good pick off Pat there to get us at the party. But yeah, so you know we're doing it, guys. We're doing the things, which is a
Yeah.
lot more again than what other people are doing. So you know we're worth getting donating to and following and supporting. And our PayPal links up there and our admin emails there if you want to ask any questions, you want to join or anything like that. And like Stuart said, we need leaflets, guys. We need leaflets. We have to collate and get a few thousand leaflets here. I had a big box full I had to bring down because Pat's got how many elections in London next couple of years?
Well, next May we've got like 9 wards to leaflet, including my own ward. So we've got King's Cross, Somers Town, Regent's Park Estate, Holborn and Covent Garden. Hopefully got this new candidate in Islington, Clerkenwell ward. Got Sutton, got a ward in Sutton, and we've got a ward in Mitcham. So a lot of leaflets we need, and obviously they cost money. I've just ordered 10,000, but we're going to need about another 30,000. So if people could donate, please go to the website and click on our donate link on the screen there. You can do it on the screen. But going back to the 1951 Refugee Convention, you know, I did a video earlier on my response to Nigel Farage's announcement, and I can guarantee you now, if you know, I think Nigel Farage and Reform will probably be the next government of this country, but I can guarantee you they're not going to be deporting any of those people. That it's just not going to happen, and I think they're making a massive mistake because what they need to do is say, you know, we need to stop accepting refugees, and they just won't do it. In the middle of his speech, he was put on the spot. Oh yeah, we'll definitely take the Afghan interpreters. You know, like you know, he just can't say no. And you know, 5-year pause. Like they could not. What's the word? Deflect and not speak about it anymore because everyone's talking about it now, and everyone knows that that's how they're getting in. They're using the convention to get in at Dover, and they're saying they're going to pause it for 5 years. Why can't they just say, like, we're going to scrap it, we're not going to accept any more refugees anymore? Because they're not serious, and they're you know, it all boils down to, oh, but you wouldn't take the refugees in 1945. That's what it all boiled down to. And you know, we will say, no, we won't. We're not going to take any more. You know, we want to protect the country. The country is more important. And he also made it clear that they're going to continue to accept immigrants and integrate them and give them passports. So I just don't understand why someone in his position, he's got the whole country. Well, he would have the whole country behind him if he would say what we're saying, and he just won't do it. And It's because he believes in immigration. He believes in bringing more foreigners into the country and giving them passports. You know, he's a trans activist. He's campaigning to bloody put men in women's prisons. He's the chairman of the party. He's a gay activist, and he was campaigning for LGBT propaganda for under 8s in schools previously. So, you know, it's you know, the mayor of London candidate is a woman, a Muslim woman, when he could have had any old army veteran to be the mayoral candidate. So I'm not convinced of reform. I just don't like them, and I think that they're basically part of the problem. But it is interesting that they started talking about the 1951 Refugee Convention. You know, it's now out, it's now proper out in the open. Now they said that in their announcement today. So it is a slight significant step forward, but nowhere near enough. And I said it in my speech, in my video earlier. You know, if he could have done all this years ago, all this stuff he's saying, why? What's you know? And it's because of all the pressure from Twitter and X, and you know, Ben Habib threatening to start a new party, and it's just gonna, it's the whole thing's being divided, and I think it's because of Nigel Farage's weakness. So yeah, but you know, I think we deserve credit, our party, everyone involved with the party, and we're going to keep going. You know, our position is, you know, in an ideal world, refugees should be temporarily helped, yeah, never to be given citizenship. That's where it all went wrong in 1951, when they gave a single refugee more rights than a whole nation. That's what's happened, but Farage won't acknowledge that. So yeah, it's all going good for our party. New candidates coming forward all the time. My campaign's on pause at the moment, and I'm raring to go. But I heard something really important at the conference from young Michael from Liverpool. You know, and you just hear things sometimes that you just haven't heard before. And he said, because it's hard to get people's details on a doorstep. Like if you want to get their phone number or email, some people don't want to give it, and it's really handy to have their phone number, your voters, because then you can phone them up on the day to see if they've voted, and you can narrow down the people you got to chase up, all the people who said yes, they're going to vote for you. Because on the day, I'm going to be looking at my list, I'm going to be going around knocking on doors for all the yeses to make sure they go out and vote. Anyway, he said to me, yeah, tell him you get that. He said when he stood for the Workers' Party in a general election, he got so much people texting in saying that they voted for him. I said, how'd you do that then? He said, oh, all you do is you tell them, you know, there's been a lot of fraud and that, and can you, like, you obviously your number's on the leaflet, just say, can you please text me on the day, tell me you voted, so then we know how many votes we've got in case they try any fraud. And that's a really good tip. It's a very simple thing, but that's potentially going to really help my campaign. And that's just from networking. You know, Will Davis brought him down from Liverpool. He's got experience in politics with the Workers' Party. He said they were a bunch of clowns, by the way, and they absolutely betrayed him. And I knew that about Galloway anyway. So, yeah, young Michael from Liverpool, thank you very much for that. I'll be giving him a call as well. So, yeah, I'm really optimistic about the future. You know, one day I think we will leave this dreaded refugee convention, but I'm not sure if Reform UK will be the party to do it.
The thing is, though, Pat, everything has got to be put into context. And there's some amazing things happening, especially at international level. I mean, Trump is just winning legal argument after legal argument. I mean, today they've stopped birthright citizenship in America. America will pull out of these refugee conventions. There's big pressure in America now. I mean, it's not only to change the refugee convention, but to change the United Nations itself. So they're kowtowing to these international organizations, but America is fundamentally undermining them all. So that creates a totally different context for our borders and our immigration. Now, Reform will also, as you say, advance UK. The rumour is that Elon Musk has been talking to Ben Habib, and there's money available to build that party. That will put pressure from the right on Reform. So Reform has got to, you see, Farage responds to what pressure where the pressure is coming from. I mean, because the media has been left wing for so long, to get a platform on the mainstream media, you've had to kowtow to their line. But the mainstream media now is becoming more and more irrelevant. X is really dominating the news cycle every single day. So the truth is getting out there all the time. And of course, within Europe now, what about the French government's on I don't know what's going to happen. They're having a vote of confidence. That could collapse. Macron is incredibly unpopular. Merz now in Germany he's scrambling to contain the situation. There's all sorts of international movements. The whole of the West knows what's happening, that we're all being invaded. We're all having to deal with this sort of anarchy that is erupting in our nations, because we're all facing the same dilemmas. Because before we had these great invasions, we had the great sterility, the push to make our people sterile, which came from the Frankfurt School and their whole agenda to undermine Western society. We've seen the shrinking and the breakup of the family. We've seen mass abortion, 12 million children murdered in Britain alone. I mean, that's sapped a lot of the life out of our nation. But this has happened across the West. And there's a huge pushback, especially being led by Trump in America. And America leads the way. You know, what America does today, the rest of the world follows tomorrow. So all our agendas, all our policies are now in focus because the Trump administration is changing everything. Now, how are Reform doing at the polls? They're winning local by-elections. They won a very significant by-election in Surrey last week in the Tory heartland. And if they can defeat the Tories in, deepest blue Surrey, the Tories are finished. Kemi Badenoch, people aren't going to vote for a Nigerian to be Prime Minister. I mean, the longer she stays as leader of the Tory party. When she first came into politics, one of her first speeches in the House of Commons was to call for the lifting of the cap on Nigerian immigrants, Nigerian students, Nigerian asylum seekers. And she promoted immigration from day one from West Africa. And of course, when she stood as a candidate, initially, she made derogatory comments about white people. She always used the term white in a negative way. So she let the cat out of the bag right at the start. Now she's sort of backpedaling and claiming to be, a thorough British patriot and stuff. She's not. She's a Nigerian. She's trying to gaslight us. She's a liar, just as Keir Starmer is a liar. But she's having no impact on the British people. This is the problem now. They can't control the narrative. So the mainstream media has lost its grip on the mind of the British people. And these politicians are being exposed. I mean, Labour are running the risk of political meltdown. And we're part of the voices that have brought this about. Because next May, they're facing 4,000 elections at local and in the devolved assemblies across the United Kingdom. Labour are about to face a hit they've never dreamt of. They're going to lose thousands of councillors. They're going to lose control of Wales. They haven't got control of Scotland, but they could be pushed into third place in Scotland. So politically, everything is moving our way. But we've still got this Labour Party in power. And I want to ask Stuart this again. What's going to happen to this Labour government? Is it going to last its full 5 years? Because they're under a lot of pressure now to cut public spending because they can't put taxes up again. And I think that there's going to be civil war in the Labour Party. What's going to happen if this government melts down? These are massive political movements taking place. And there's a great opening now for the patriotic right across Europe. Stuart, what do you think is going to happen?
Well, I'd like to kick back a minute ago to Reform. Farage saying, yeah, we'll deport 600,000, which won't happen. But on that same day, Keir Starmer has made an agreement to take more Afghanis and Eritreans. Like, we really need Eritreans here. So at the one side, you've got one going, oh yeah, you know, we're going to start doing what you want a bit. And the other one doing the exact opposite, even though he turned round months ago and said, oh, it was, I can't think of the word.
Impossible.
Yeah, it was a research program. It didn't go right, you know, but they haven't done anything to reverse it. We have currently 1.4 over million people on universal credit who were not born in this country. So 600,000 doesn't touch the sides, even if we did. You've also then got to take into account that we also pay for the disability benefit, PIP, whatever you want to call it. And we know that there is a very high instance of inbreeding in that section of society. They all get disability allowance, and they're not giving out the numbers of how many on disability benefit weren't born here, or the amount of pensioners, old people. When you take in somebody from a country, after a certain number of years, they get citizenship, and then they can start inviting a certain number of people every number of years. So it's like a triangular effect. It gets worse and worse. So we're not being told how many over 65s have come into this country as family members of, let's say, an Afghan or a Pakistani Muslim who may have, think of this, some of them have 3 or 4 wives. Bigamy is illegal in this country. You guys out there, you get married twice, you're banged up in jail. They're allowed to come over here, bring their 3 or 4 wives. After a certain number of years, don't forget, that one wife, has 2 parents. So that's 3 or 4 wives. They're allowed to bring their parents in and their sisters. It's just exponential. We have to stop it. I think we should be strong enough as a country to go, right, we've had enough. Let's put the army on our borders, navy on our borders, and just say to the world, no more. We won't accept anybody, including the people that are being flown in. All of these Afghans. We're building an airport in Pakistan at UK taxpayers' expense to build an airport in Pakistan. What's that for? Why are we paying for that? You know, people who don't know these things, and we need to ask the questions. And us and other patriotic parties are coming out with the things that people are saying, common sense policies. And we need strong leadership. And it does start from a groundswell. And the groundswell is happening. You're seeing flags going up everywhere, even though some places they're tearing them down with liberal women jumping up and down on them. I think we've all seen the videos on X by now. You know, they're unwantable women, I think, anyway. They'll probably end up old, lonely, in a house full of cats, because nobody will want to marry any of those 3 that I saw online. So we need men, especially, to come forward, patriotic, strong men with their women as well. Strong, patriotic women as well. We need to do away with the liberal woman and the liberal man who go, oh, well, we've got to let them in because, you know, I've got a big heart and we've got the room. No, we haven't. Our economy can't take it. We're accepting more and more Indians. 164,000 Indians got visas last year. India has a higher GDP than we do. We're going wrong. We're deindustrialised. We've got the most expensive fuel in Europe. while we've got oil fields sitting there and we're importing from Norway. I mean, where is the sense? Really, people have to stand up, see what's going on, get off the mainstream media because they tell you lies or only part stories. Get networking with your friends, get talking to your friends. Bring up hard, tough subjects, certain religions, certain cultures, certain ways of life. And with that, I'll let John get in. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Stuart. Some really awesome things Stuart said there. I mean, I've done a lot myself about things like first cousin marriages and stuff like that. I've done a lot of that myself. I just want to go back. Guys. So, I mean, yes, we're not keen on reform and we're not keen on the Workers' Party, but I've got to say, because of them two parties, they've absolutely.
I think John's gone.
Looks like John's frozen there. Pat, do you want to step in?
No, I'm here. I'm here.
Go on.
With this is a chance for everyone. Independents, there's so many independent councillors, small local parties like ours, and stuff like that popping up. This is a time, guys, to get into elections. And I need about 1,000 votes. Yet 3-4 years ago, I would have needed 2,000 votes. That's how easy it is for me to get my seat. And that's a lot of other areas are like that in Oldham and North Manchester. So this is a time, guys. I don't think reform will get the overall government. They might have to share with someone, maybe. I don't know, but, I don't really want them in government. I want them in elections, but I don't want them in power. I don't, because the stuff's backwards. But, my biggest thing is they're just the same as the other establishment parties we've had. And it proved this. We've proved this over the past 3 years. They're just the same. And we've got to be careful. But anyway, it's all to play for. It's all to play for.
Yeah, well, two things you got to really remember about those two parties. The Workers' Party of Britain, George Galloway, is when the Southport thing happened, all the people in the Workers' Party went against the protesters. They literally went against them, and it was very evident. They showed their real true colours then. And also with Reform UK, GB News is basically a Reform UK channel, and they regularly have far left extremists on their channel, like Benjamin Butterworth, Peter Tatchell, this what's her name, the black woman who just hates white people. They wouldn't allow someone like us on their channel. They wouldn't allow nationalists. They won't even allow like people connected to Tommy Robinson on there now. I don't even like Tommy Robinson myself, but it just kind of proves that they're not really anti-establishment. They are the establishment, and it's for big things are going to be changing. But just to let people know, we did have a guest supposed to come on to talk about Epsteins Island, and it looks like he's not going to make it. He may do at the last minute. Keep checking the link there, the back room there, John. Truth Teller was supposed to come on, and we was going to discuss Epsteins Island. And the big question is before Trump got elected, he said he was going to release all the details on Epsteins Island flight list and the island list and stuff, and then all of a sudden he's backtracked on that and he doesn't want to do it. So why do you think that is, Paul?
Well, Trump's got a huge agenda. I mean, obviously he's involved in this Ukraine thing. We talked a lot about Epstein last week.
He said he was going to stop the Ukraine war in 2 days when he got elected.
Yeah, but I mean, if that was his hope, I mean, if he'd done that, it'd been fantastic. But it's a bit of an intractable problem because the Europeans have buttressed Zelensky for so long. But he's restructuring it, but he's got to obviously. There's massive.
Does it prove that he's not in control? Because if he really wanted to, he could say, right, we're going to not give them any more arms. We're going to withdraw from everything there. He could do that as a president, but it kind of proves he's not in control, Paul.
No one's in complete control. This is the situation. I mean, we talked. Stuart talked earlier about whether, and John, whether reform will get a majority. Now that's going to be extremely hard to win a parliamentary majority. You need millions of pounds. Can they raise that much money? They're having problems raising really the mega bucks. A lot of the money that was promised has not appeared. They have got hundreds of thousands of members, but Reform have got a core membership of about 70,000. They just had a vote for the, whatever it's called, the advisory board, and only 65,000 voted. They're the activists. That's big enough. You have 65,000 activists, you can make a real impact, because that's roughly what the Tories have when they have an election. That's roughly the vote they get. But they'll have candidates, though, up and down the country. I mean, Reform are going to contest at least 600 parliamentary seats, and they're going to contest, of the 10,000 council seats, they're intending to contest 90% of those. So they're looking for 9,000 candidates. It's amazing that in just 1 year that they built up a political operation of this size. Once you get to power, this is where the problems begin. Because
Can I just
the
weigh
British,
in? Can I
it's
just
not.
wait one sec? Let you finish, but I'll just weigh in. I mean, you just said then a year, because everyone's pissed off, Paul, aren't they? Everyone's really angry with the government.
I don't think it's amazing. It's like that the country is desperate for a solution, and they basically just hijacked the ground what people want, basically.
Somebody mentioned Ben Habib earlier and his party that he's starting, the Advance UK. I have to say, the last few weeks I've spotted him on a few X Spaces, and for somebody who's pertaining to be a leader of a party, I've got to say, of a national party, I've got to say I was really impressed that he came on Spaces, you know, sometimes for an hour and a half, open questions, he answered anything and everything. And I have to say, he, out of all the leaders that I've seen so far, has come across as the most patriotic and looking at it from a common sense of point of view and looking to do government differently. So that each year, if you're not happy with the people in power, you can vote people in and out of that government. So, you know, so if say at the moment, let's say with Labour, we go, we're not happy with the Labour front bench. There's some people in the back benches who have got some brilliant ideas. Let's push them forward. So I've got to say, you know, it's only 4 or 5 times now, but I was very impressed that he would come on and he would speak to anybody. And
The
there
thing
was some.
is, though, Stuart, with Ben Habib, he's a very marginal character. He's not under any pressure. Nigel Farage is being put in a position where he could really be the next Prime Minister. This will be an incredible political earthquake.
Yeah,
It's
but the
hard to
more,
imagine anything which is equivalent to it in British politics, especially since the emergence of the Labour Party in the 1920s. But as I was going to say earlier, the problem begins once you get power. They'll need a substantial majority because they'll have to use that parliamentary majority to push forward constitutional changes, treaty changes, international treaties, and bring in new laws if they're going to deport anyone. And they're going to have to withdraw from a lot of international treaties. The British establishment and the civil service will do everything they can to put a spike in the wheel. So they're going to need broad-based support. The one advantage they will have if Trump is still in power or the Republicans is that the Americans will use their weight to support them. That could be the real difference, and they could get the agendas through. But I've always said the revolution only begins once you get power. Without power, you can't do anything. And you have to win power. You can't win power on a narrow agenda. You've got to have a broad constituency. You've got to bring a lot of moderates on board as well as a lot of radicals just to get that vote, to get that majority.
When they get into power, the name reform is going to be a problem straight away, because once you're in government and you're it's all your policies, they're gonna have to change that name, because how long are they going to be with reform?
Yeah, but it's not that. It's the nature of the British state and the nature of international agreements. They'll try and scupper them. They'll use everything. The establishment will use everything to prevent it to happen. What they're going to need a groundswell of support from the British people, a radical base. But they're going to need international support from America, and they're going to need a workable parliamentary majority. Now, in the next election cycle, this is the only alternative at the national level. I mean, the point is, you're going to need, but this could lead, if they do start deporting anybody, this could lead to civil strife on our streets. Because as we saw with the Southport, after the Southport atrocities, the Muslims are organised, they're armed, and they're militant, and the police are not reliable. Remember when the Muslim gangs come out of the mosque carrying weapons, and all the police said to them was, "Do us a favour, lads, put your weapons back in the mosque." They didn't clamp down on them. It was unreal.
Yeah.
So, I mean, will the police be reliable? So then there's the question of the army. The establishment over the past 10 years has began a brainwashing exercise with the military. They've tried to make the military as woke as possible. That's had a degree of success, because I speak to soldiers and I can tell the difference in their thinking from 10 years ago. They become a much more woke. So who will be reliable? If reform enact any radical policies, there'll be a pushback, not only from the establishment, but from the ethnic minorities and the left on the streets. And this is where the civil war begins. You see, people think the revolution leads to power. The revolution will follow the election. And this is where all the battalions come to the fore, because we will all have to push for a radical agenda to save Britain. And this will be on the streets. It'll be in elections, local elections, and it will be contested at every level, on the social media, in the national media, in the national debate. I mean, the next 5 years promises to be a real hotting up of British politics. And reform is part of that, because reform is the catalyst to break down the Lib Lab Con, which has had such a grip on British politics since the Second World War.
They were
We
broken
need
already.
something different. And they're the only, you see, the Advance UK have not even stood a candidate yet. There's no one really emerging in parliamentary elections to challenge the Lib Lab Con, except reform. Because that's where it's going to be. That's where the hub's going to be. So we've got to see this as an opportunity to awaken the British people, to be part of the campaign to save Britain, and part of the more radical edge, which will bring the true policies to the fore. Because as the revolution unfolds, new opportunities emerge. People start to think differently. They look for different ideas. They look for alternative voices. John, do you want to speak?
Yeah, if you can hear me, guys. Yeah, thank you very much, everyone in the chat. I can't see the chat properly because I'm on my phone. I'm sorry about that. Big computer, I
Do you
can
want me to
see.
read the chat out? Do you want me to read the chat out, John?
Yeah. Just go through it, see what people have said.
Yeah. Well, I'm just going to say thanks for everyone who's watching. Mark Williams, Bexy, EW, Jackie, WK, White Knight, Gerard Fisher. Hello, Gerard. Good to see you there. Big Vinny's there. All right, Big Vinny. He was at the camp with us. Toffee, L10. Nice to see you there, Toffee. But yeah, I mean, if Nigel Farage wasn't so woke, there wouldn't be an Advance UK, and it's looking like Advance UK may end up stopping reform from winning. So where does the blame lie? We'll have to wait and see what happens.
Yeah,
But
yeah, definitely. But
next week, John, next week, I forgot to tell you, we've got Alistair, who, Force for Good, who came on before. Alistair. He's frozen. Yeah, Alistair from Force for Good, Scottish Alistair. He's going to come on and promote his book. He's written a book, and he's going to send it to Paul Rimmer to read. And we're going to talk about his book and promote his book. It's a patriotic book, and that'll be next week. Over to you, John.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much. Don't forget, like and subscribe. Our links for PayPal, questions or anything, admin emails. Like I said, just yesterday, I'm glad I didn't go. Anthony's come down, told me that he'd be sad, and said, "Look, we've got a party. You can run right now." You know what I mean? So, he wants to go in head first. You know what I mean? He was gearing up for this. Now, you know, we do criticise all the other parties, but I'm going to stress that we need people to get politically involved. We need these other parties to break down things for us, to give us that opening. Paul said that tonight, and Pat, an opening to get into politics ourselves. And this is a time, guys. This is the absolute time to get into it. So, you know, whatever you think of these parties, Workers' Party reform, whatever, the whole of everyone running and standing up is causing a big shake through our system. The Labour Party were on the knees. The Tories have been wiped out. The Labour Party are going next. They're not going to get a majority, I don't think, so much or anything. And they have lost hundreds of thousands of votes. Now, we know Jeremy's making his party, and Pat's already pointed out that'll just totally...
Bad connection. John, you there?
Sorry, I think I cut out there. Anyway, Pat, you finish it off. Talk to everyone, finish it off.
Okay. Yeah, thanks for everyone watching. We had a great conference at the Veterans PTSD camp over the weekend, and thanks for everyone who's been donating. It's all going to leaflets. If you want to join the party, it's £22 a year. You can do that on the website, nationalhousingparty.uk. We've just released a new policy, white British group identity policy, to make it legal for us to exist, basically, because at the moment it is illegal to have white British group identity officially recognised. So that's all on the website. Check that all out on the website. You can also join if you're an old age pensioner or veteran or on benefits for £11 a year. And that's about it. Any last words, Paul?
Yeah, I mean, the old framework is crumbling rapidly. We can see the demographic change in society. We're facing an economic meltdown in this country. Taxes are rising. There's huge debt, inflation. You know, this Labour government is now running on lies. It's got no agenda, no vision for the future. It's anti-British. They're bringing in these immigrants who are terrifying our communities. This is a terrorist government, and the British people are waking up. And the Tories are not there now as the natural alternative. They've gone. So this whole space of patriotism has opened up. New voices are being heard, and the National Housing Party is one of the voices that is prepared to speak the truth, to say things that other parties won't say. I mean, you know, all the conformists, you know, they're still sort of playing the game of like wanting to be respected, wanting to have a platform on the mainstream media. We need radical voices that speak the truth. And this is what this party is all about. This is what our agenda is. Speak the truth with boldness. Cheers, guys.
The truth will set us free. Christ is King. Any last words, Stuart?
I would say a Bob Marley song comes to mind at the moment that goes like, get up for your rights. Good night.
Thank you. Cheers, John.